border congestion, especially at the Beitbridge border. It's an ongoing thing. Every December, every festive season, we see those type of congestions. Now, this time around, it's something very different because of the COVID pandemic, like what we've likely heard from the reporter from Beitbridge. It's actually a human crisis, and I think both the Zimbabwean government and South African government are not doing that much to do a favor to the citizen for both South Africans and the Zimbabweans. These people are not crossing only to go and get the foodstuffs or groceries, but also they are seeking refuge in South Africa, as this is the closest border post which it is easy to cross over to Johannesburg or surrounding areas. It is estimated almost 700 Zimbabweans, particularly those who are staying closer to the borders, cross over Zimbabwe, and these they do not return back to Zimbabwe, as there is no life in Zimbabwe as we can speak now.
So the untenable humanitarian situation at the Beitbridge border post and the Limpopo River was also amplified by reports of people drowning in the river on their way to buy Christmas groceries in Mosina. Now, those caught up in the river included undocumented Zimbabweans who were making their way back home to spend the holidays with their loved ones. The desperation of Zimbabweans risking their lives should signal what appears to be a desperate situation in that country. What can we read into this?
Yes, it's quite, it is quite saddening, as people that we can still have people are risking their lives to cross the famous Limpopo River, which is infested with crocodiles. I come from Zambia. I drive a lot that route going to Zambia, but there was some time in 2005 I was told a story which I really proved it that in fact those who there are people living along the bank of the Limpopo River, they actually sell dogs. What they do is they will throw dogs on the river as the crocodiles are feasting on those dogs. Then they try to cross the river. So the situation there is quite worsening, and the SADC regional blocs are not doing much favor to the both countries. And I think this is a security risk to South Africa, especially where, in terms of diplomatic relations with Zimbabwe are concerned. We hear already that the beginning of 2020 or mid 2020, we had the ANC had to go see their comrades, the ZANU-PF, and as well as the government delegation was appointed by President Cyril Ramaphosa to find a solution on how to curb this issue. But that has fruitlessly continued to bear no fruits. The diplomatic as well, diplomacy of former President Thabo Mbeki as well to try to establish a productive Zimbabwe, which can be independently, make sure that it's productively feed into the economies of the continent, has also failed. The recent stories regarding building a wall there, a fence, we hear about from the Minister of Infrastructure Development in South Africa, Patricia De Reuck, who maybe spent so much money in trying to build a fence. But that will never gonna work, in terms of building a fence. Yes, politically to work, and I think one of the issues the ANC might discuss in going to the elections would be maybe to build a wall there. President Donald Trump used that strategy, United States of America, to win some elections, that you build the wall against the Mexicans, but that doesn't work. We need a proper corroboration and of understanding the migration, because this migration is not only affecting the Zimbabweans, but the South Africans as well. It is affecting them. The treasury is feeling the pain. We can hear now how the lockdown has come up in South Africa during the festive season. It could not be entirely 100% due to the coronavirus, but also the capacity of the law enforcement officers. They are undercapacitated because the number of people who are undocumented in the country is just getting out of hand.
I also want to zoom into another another aspect of our conversation. These are also not normal times, and the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic has meant that a more stringent regime exists on the bridge that links the two countries. Now, the restrictions and the unusually wet season have led to a bitter cocktail for the migrants. They were forced to choose between the perilous journey through the Limpopo or an almost impervious patrolled border post on the bridge. Are authorities, in your view, doing enough to address the issue at the border post?
Look, they are doing their level best, but when you talk about capacity 1 to 1,000 people, that is, you're not going to get that effectiveness, in terms of border control. We expect to have more than maybe 25,000 soldiers to be deployed to capacitate with the capacity of the immigration officers to make sure that there is no people crossing the border illegally. And besides that, there also must be maybe some sort of visa restrictions, of people coming to the country. They must declare what is happening. Yes, we are people, we have to consider the relationships of how the economy of Zimbabwe is. But I think as South Africa, as a big brother of Africa, and where we have President Cyril Ramaphosa as a chairperson, these issues has to be addressed very carefully, especially to the Zimbabwean government. Look at the case of Lesotho. It's some international policies which they apply, but it is the same international policies and of relations, but the application is different. Lesotho is dealt with as a small child. Even if there's uncertainties in Lesotho, we see that the army commander or the defense and security minister, they're already there in Lesotho discussing peace and security issues. But in the case of Zimbabwe, it's a congestion and people are just waiting for the bomb to explode. So that we react towards that. And many lives has been lost as a result of that Beitbridge border. I don't think the Beitbridge border is also bigger enough to handle the pressure which is coming through. I last visited a few weeks ago at the border. I can see that the immigration officers, they are using temporary tents, to do the immigration papers. In fact, the infrastructure as well is not capacitated. And we are signing the Inter-Africa Free Trade Agreement. That Beitbridge saves Zambia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Malawi, and many other regions going forward. They use that border. So that is how sensitive that border is, despite the humanitarian crisis which we have. Trucks are spending there more than 2 weeks or maybe more a month, just to clear the customs or to have that type of thing. So I think many things has to be done, to make sure that that border is freely decongested, and as well as, how can we assist or how can we take advantage to the migration of people coming to South Africa. The case study which I did in one of my theses is the Mexico-United States relations. You find that United States now, instead of trying to chase the Mexicans, what they call the Spaniards, they've tried to see if they can take advantage of that labor force, to use it productively instead of having people undocumented, or maybe make an asylum, a situation period where they can salvage some of the skills from Zimbabwe as they are looking for long-term solutions to make sure that Zimbabwe is productively participating as a continent, in the continent.
Well, Dr. Sinkala, again, thank you very much for your time. That was International Relations Consultant, Dr. Charles Sinkala.